Okay, and off we go. Good morning, everyone. June 25th, middle of the summer, approaching 4th of July weekend. Welcome to the Smart Market Call. As you all know, this is our weekly call. We talk a lot about the MX system, any new developments with the platform, tips and tricks. We'll do some market update, talking about the mills and supply and what's going on out in the marketplace. We've got unique industry guests, and we try and let me just turn that off there. Sorry about that. We try and develop a theme of thought leadership, of course, along the way in everything that we do on the Friday call. And this morning's guest is David Munaretto, president of LotNova. This ought to be an interesting discussion. LotNova is a startup company that is working in the building supply channel. And I've grabbed a screenshot of his website, and David's going to do a little bit of a demo later. But specifically, when we talk about thought leadership, so we all know that the materials exchange platform matches buyers with sellers digitally, and then we provide some more value by providing landed freight, of course, and top of book pricing that's available, live pricing, the ability to negotiate back and forth, and then actually conduct real transactions that come across digitally through your ERP systems. And so it's that thought leadership is now starting to extend out now into the other areas of the supply channel. And we'll be talking about those different types, but specifically in LotNova, he is matching, if you would, available building sites that are out there throughout communities all throughout. I don't know if it's the Midwest currently or nationally, David, you'll have to expand on that, but matching building lot sites with the kinds of available building plans that can actually fit on those sites, are code compliant, are appropriate for the size of the building site. He'll use data from MLS and various other sources, marry that data, and essentially create a searching platform for people that are looking to build. So there's another example of thought leadership, and we'll get into that a little bit more later on in the show. When we talk about this week in MX world, of course, I think the big story continues that the lumber markets are up and down and sideways right now. We're going to have Ashley certainly weigh in on that and talk about what he saw this week. We had another big trading week. Ashley can talk about the trade of the week as well. And then we've been talking about active markets, which is an extension of our platform that's been evolving here over the past month. And we've got Joe Campagna, our CIO, who will be talking a little bit about that. So with that, let's get right into it. We've talked before about active markets, which is version 4.48 is our current version. If you don't see that in your login, when you log in, make sure you log in, log out, and get back in. So you see 4.48, the system will refresh. And of course, active markets has been evolving. And the reason that we've built out active markets, of course, is to increase the number of views that you have available by showing you everything that's being listed on the marketplace, as opposed to just what's on your watch list. Of course, this generated tremendous feedback and excitement from the user base. We saw our transactions go up dramatically. We saw our visibility go up dramatically. And so with that, I just want to turn it over to Joe to talk a little bit about what he's observed, what he's doing in the background, and what users should think about as they're moving forward. Joe?
Thanks, Paul. Quick reminder, as Paul mentioned, you need to log off and then refresh your screen in order to ensure that you're on 4.48. We're actually working on an updated version right now. We'll probably put that into production next weekend, which would be 4.51 or 4.52. We're not sure how many changes we're going to put in the updated version, but as Paul said, we've seen a lot of activity where people are using active markets, which automatically adds those SKUs into your watch lists and then gives you the ability to remove them if you don't want to see them, the same way active markets works, where you can specifically eliminate certain SKUs if you don't want to see them or add them to your watch list, as well as locations. So as Paul mentioned, we've seen a pretty good increase, probably around 20%, 25% of SKUs that people are adding into their watch lists. And we know that it's coming via active markets because we know the products that are being listed. daily. Certainly happy to welcome any suggestions or comments, as always, to any member of the team. If you'd like to reach out to me directly, you can do that. Any of the guys as well, that's fine. That's fine, however you're most comfortable. But we are working. We continue to try to make our system more robust and faster and just more reliable for everyone who's looking for product, as Paul mentioned. So,
all right, cool. Thanks, Joe. So we've talked before. Please visit our LinkedIn page. Our social media is becoming certainly our primary method of delivering content to the marketplace, and it's really kind of our main hub of current information. You can go there at any time and see recordings of the various different, we call it the MX channel, the MX network. Oh boy, sorry, let me close that again. I'm gonna have to figure out how to stop that in the future. And of course, Ashley runs his 2 sessions throughout the week. This Week in Lumber every Wednesday, along with Matt Lehman, and then our Lunch with Lumberman with Matt Lehman on Thursday. Sorry, so Wednesdays and Thursdays. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to Ashley to talk about what he saw in the marketplace this week and what's going on with his trade of the week.
Thanks, Paul. As we all know, if you don't know it, the lumber industry has fallen significantly in the last 2 or 3 weeks. Probably haven't been watching it. Market's dropped over $900 a thousand in 30 days. And when we're talking, that's a CME relative, but when you're looking at all the different species, some of them have dropped that much, if not more, in the actual cash spot market price, especially Southern Yellow Pine. This week, existing home sales came out, new home sales. A couple highlights to that. Anything over $700,000 is basically going gangbusters if it's coming on the market. Anything that's an entry-level home, there's not a lot of inventory out there. The other interesting little tidbit we pulled out of there was the median home sales price of the existing and new home sales are just continuing to be on a trajectory straight up. Why is that? Well, when we chatted with some of our users and a couple of people got in, and we had some conversations during our Wednesday and Thursday calls and on social media. Look, at the big issue right now is the backlog of homes. So people are building homes, and it's all regional, but I think the trend here is there's a big backlog of homes, unbuilt homes. So a lot of builders now are afraid to go out and sell too far in the future because everybody wants to snap them up. What that means is there's a lot of framers out there that are in need, right? And you can only build as fast as you can produce something. So a log is in the woods. If there's 10 truckloads of logs produced and only enough capacity at a mill to convert 9 of them to lumber, the price of logs doesn't go up. If there's 100 homes worth of lumber being produced at a mill and trying to be sold, but only 90 houses can be built, you can make your own assumption. So one of my people on LinkedIn today, there's an interesting conversation going back and forth on one of my posts. Guy said, I've been using the pipe analogy. This is Ed Winders from Contract Lumber. Demand feels like a 6-inch pipe, but dimension lumber is a 4-inch. OSB is a 3-inch, depending on the market. Labor is a 3 to 4-inch. And EWP, engineered wood products, is a 2-inch. The 2-inch pipe is controlling the flow right now. Each step down increases pressure. I'm not seeing anything on the horizon that changes the 2-inch pipe. So hopefully we can get enough switched back to dimensional lumber or floor trusses to relieve the pressure and increase the flow. So that's the really interesting thing to think about. 2 things are happening in lumber. There's not enough labor and other products out there to build the demand that we need. We want to build 1.7 or 1.8 houses, but we can't because we're constrained. In the meantime, the price of lumber was so high. What do you think happens? Mills bring on more production. It makes sense. They bring on more production. They have to move more lumber. Price falls. That's what we've been seeing. The interesting trade of the week this week was OSB. It has kind of stayed sticky and up there. There's only about 5 producers of OSB, so it doesn't fall as fast. A lot of their contracts are to the big boxes. The big boxes pushed back on lumber after Memorial Day, and now we're seeing them push back on OSB. That had started out a month ago. And if you had been on our calls on the Wednesday and Thursday, you would have seen that. It is starting to show up now. What has happened is the big spreads, index price, where everybody gets their contracts, spot price, was almost $600 difference in 7/16 a month ago. It's on top of each other now. That's $18,000 a truck difference now. So that means that arbitrage work that is coming in. So we said home centers are pushing back. The trade of the week, a big retailer up in the Northeast had a bunch of trucks of LP 350 specialty that they wanted to move. They had it because they had that to top off in case they couldn't get any specialty when we had the glue shortage a couple months ago. Guess what? They were able to get enough of their specialty. So they are selling their product back into the market. It went all the way to Indiana, to Texas, and to New Jersey. So basically, Materials Exchange was able to connect people that would have never connected on a product. It would have sat there and that guy would have had to figure out what to do with that. Instead, he was able to turn that into cash immediately and fulfill users that needed it in other markets. So this is how arbitrage works. The market finds everybody that needs it. Would have never happened in the traditional analog market because nobody at any group or any wholesale or anything has any real interest in helping somebody sell something that they've already sold them once. So what's going to happen? Are we going to bounce in here? I don't know. I will say everybody that has a vested interest in making money, whether you're a broker, a wholesaler, they're going to try to get something happening, saying how everybody's buying yesterday. There was some buying and then it stopped. There's buying every day. So I don't know what's going to happen, but price is determining kind of what we're doing, and the prices continue to go down. So we'll keep monitoring it and keep signing into our LinkedIn's and our YouTube lives to check it out. Thanks, Paul. Back to you.
I appreciate that, Ashley. You know, those are the kind of insights get kicked around on the shows on Wednesdays and Thursday with Ashley, some of the other industry experts, and Matt Lehman. Matt likes to, you know, look forward and be very matter of fact about what he sees looking forward. So you combine the insights of the professionals, you combine that with real market data that we provide on a daily basis, and you really have an information platform that's unrivaled out there. And I love the fact, I've heard this many times now being discussed on Ashley's calls, where if you have wood in your yard, even if you're a retailer or you are now a distributor in the marketplace, you're a distribution supplier in the marketplace, and you can sell that wood because of the transparency of the market. And so that, you know, that's kind of a new trend. It used to always be a one-way channel. It came down through the mills, through the suppliers, through the groups. It landed in the retail yards, and then the suppliers just kept pushing one way. You know, they were trying to move wood one way all the time. Now the endpoints, if you would, can distribute and relieve that inventory. And it's a fascinating thing to watch, and technology allows it with transparency and visibility. So thanks again, Ash, appreciate that. So we're gonna shift our focus again over, I wanna introduce David Munaretto. I'll let Mike introduce him. We had a fascinating talk last night in prep for the call. And again, I'll just jump to this page. This is a landing page for David's site. I'll turn it over to Mike and David. They can share the screens from there. But essentially, David is creating a matching environment, a matching platform on the building lot side with home plans themselves to create a potential match for folks to get involved in a building construction project. So with that, I'll turn it over to you, Mike.
Morning. Thank you, Paul. I'm very excited to have David on the show, especially because I believe personally what he's onto and what this LotNova is doing. In 5 years, everyone's going to be like, well, of course, everybody knew that was going to happen. And we sit here today and go, oh, this is really kind of interesting. So before we get there, David, who are you? Where do you come from? How did you end up on my show?
So I'm actually a customer of Materials Exchange. When lumber started going absolutely crazy, my philosophical process was really, is this a lumber and supply chain constraint issue, or is it just a messed up supply chain and there's lumber sitting in Arkansas somewhere that could be deployed on a job site in Chicago? And then started trying to understand that business, stumbled into Materials Exchange and said, this is the greatest thing I've ever seen. So I'm actually on Materials Exchange, and it's visibility and it's transparency, right? I can understand in real time what's going on in the market, and use that information as I talk to my trades about what's going on in their business. In fact, my largest carpenter, framing carpenter, is actually also on the materials exchange platform. And they have capacity for storage. They do primarily off-site construction, and materials exchange for them is a way to facilitate the process of acquiring lumber and keeping up with demand.
So wait,
My
how did you get into this? Where did you come from? What's
So
your background?
I was actually in a division of D.R. Horton called Emerald Homes, and Emerald Homes in Chicago became the largest spec home builder in the Midwest. We were on a run rate to do about 100, 110 homes a year, all tear down vacant lots in communities like Arlington Heights, Northbrook, Deerfield, the affluent suburbs of Chicago. So it was all luxury spec homes in affluent markets. I'm sorry about the dogs. So I left there because my vision was to take that same philosophy of how we matched potential building sites and our potential home plans and put that in the hands of the home buyer and give them the flexibility and ease of saying, I really want to live in this community and I really like this plan. How do I facilitate that purchase? And how do I make sure that what I end up with at the end of it isn't a lemon lot, isn't a bad contractor who doesn't really know what they're doing? And how do I take those best practices and make buying a new construction home as easy as purchasing an existing home?
Right, because basically right now we think, oh, if I'm going to buy a new construction home, I'm going to one of the tract builders and I'm going into a new community that's in a farm that was a farm field 2 years ago and now it has 500 homes on it, right?
Yeah, so let's talk about the dynamics of the market, right? So in 2020, there were roughly 6.5 million home sales in the United States. 75% of those home buyers preferred a new construction home. And 4 million of those people didn't buy a new construction home. And what are the reasons? Well, it's not right. So it wasn't the right location. Imagine that we're building out in farm fields 500 miles from the city of Chicago, right? It's not the right price. It's not the right plan, or it's not the right finishes. It's not easy. I don't really have to worry about when I buy an existing home, timing the sale of my home when my home is done. I have to figure out construction financing. How do I finance a new construction home versus traditional, straightforward 30-year fixed mortgage on an existing home sale?
Yeah, there's a couple steps in buying a new home where you got the construction loan and then finish that out, finally get your mortgage and
right.
Absolutely.
So
there's barriers to entry.
So as a platform, we're really relentlessly focused on all of those challenges and making it a simple, easy transactional solution for potential home buyers. And we believe there's 4 million of them out there whose needs weren't met by the industry.
Okay, so like as a user of LotNova, why am I going to go to this LotNova site? What am I going to do?
So you're going to go here because you're interested in new construction. You're not finding what you want in the market. There's low inventory in the market, even of existing homes, and you're looking for choice, right? It's not a builder has this lot on this house, and it's not completely ambiguous as I could buy this lot. I wonder what I can build here, right? And how much it'll cost. So our platform, I can share my screen. I can actually give you a quick run through.
Let's do that. That sounds great.
All right. I cannot share while the other participant.
There you go. Now you should be able to.
Now, share screen. Start. I get 3, 2, 1. So this is the LotNova platform. Okay, and we have about $100 million in active real estate listings throughout the Chicagoland market, primarily focused on the more affluent cities where, as Ashley said, everything over 700K is going gangbusters. That's right now, that's our sweet spot, but we are designed to have multiple different finish and spec levels so that we can tailor budget and the price to multiple different types of buyers. But if we pick, here's Libertyville, a place I've built dozens of homes. If you drill down, you can say, hey, here's a lot in Libertyville that's $225,000. I wonder what I could build there. That's a great location in Libertyville.
So the first thing it does is it shows you empty lots.
It shows you lots, or you can say I want to browse home plans, and you can start there as well. So you could pick a plan, and it would show you the places that plan could be built.
Okay, well, let's go scenario one first. So
Yeah, so
I
and
picked this lot.
you know, it's really just the opposite scenario. We don't really need to go through it. The important thing is once you get to a listing, it shows you information about the property itself. You know, is it in a floodplain? What utilities are available? Are there buildings on the property already? And is it, you know, is it vacant land or is it a tear down? What schools is it? See, the same Zillow type information you would typically get. But then more importantly, on the right here, it shows you, here's the home plans in our system that can be built on that lot. So now it's actionable, right? What was a vacant lot is now a decision you can make. You don't have to guess.
Hang on a second. Let's talk about it. Home plans in your system. What does that mean?
So we collect a curated selection of home plans from architects around the country. And we've probably got 40 or so plans in there now. We've got another 20 or 30 that we're evaluating. They're really designed to be tailored to the types of properties we have in the system today. But we're planning to scale that to over 500 different home plans.
What comes with the home plans? Is it the full engineering spec and everything?
Yeah. So you can, when you buy a home from LotNova, we're actually purchasing that plan from that architect. So we don't own any of the plans. We also don't own any of the lots, right? We're a marketplace for matching those things. And so that's kind of how we work, because we want to have that flexibility. In fact, the buyer could come to us and say, I like this plan. Can you put it in your system just for me and show me where I could build it?
So basically, let's say, I know my wife is loving this, by the way. She could go through, look at all these plans and say, oh, I really like this house.
Yes.
Where can this house be built? Oh, I really like that area. All of a sudden, before you know it, she has the house plans picked out, and she knows 3 lots that that house could be built on.
Yep.
And then at that point, what does LotNova do?
At that point, it gives you a detailed price breakdown of what it will cost to build that house on that lot. Our system can handle any lot in the markets we're in and any home plan in the system. And it's looking at community level requirements. So what are the building permit costs? What are impact fees if it's a vacant lot? Are there additional costs for zoning code related or building code? For example, Elmhurst requires 2 layers of plywood on the floor. So that adds to the cost of building the home. It looks at the lot specific criteria. Is it well and septic, or is it sewer and water? And what are the cost differences between those? And then the actual characteristics of the plan. Is it a 5-bedroom house? Is it a 4-bedroom house? How many square feet is the house to derive a price?
All right, so we've done all that. I found my lot. I found my house plan. I say, okay, LotNova, let's do it. What happens?
You click on package price, and it takes you to a basic a form, and it starts with a conversation, right? So you're not be able to click and add it to a shopping cart and buy a house with a credit card, right? But we have a whole process for helping you secure your financing. First of all, understanding what your challenges are, right? You might be worried about how do I carry 2 mortgages? Well, we have a partnership with Easy Knock that can buy your house and rent it back to you while we're building your home. But understand what those challenges are, craft a solution to help that buyer through those challenges and make an easy process. We have partners with US Bank and some other lenders that are specialized in new construction home lending, so we can help them secure their financing. Then once we're ready to move forward, getting your land under contract is probably very critical, but we also understand that there's professional due diligence that has to occur on the lot through engineering and architects and things like that are always part of that process of building a home. So we bring best practices for contract terms and other things that give you time to evaluate professionally and get out if there's a problem, right? And then, from there, it's getting permits and build the house and make your life as easy as possible throughout that whole process.
And LotNova is the general contractor.
We will manage everything from acquiring the land to helping you move into your home.
So it, in essence, it becomes a one-stop shop.
It's a one-stop shop. So here's the cool thing. 2 days ago, there was a press release. And you said, 5 years from now, this whole idea is going to be like a duh. Why didn't, obviously you can do this online, right? 2 days ago, there was a press release. Pulte and Taylor Morrison have released virtual buying platforms for in a pilot basis for some of their communities. So the idea is you can reserve a lot and pick a plan and start the same exact process within their communities. So virtual home buying is here.
Of course. And I think the term that we talked about yesterday, which was a new term to me, is infill lots.
Yeah. So a traditional builder buys 150 or 200 or 2,000 acres. They put in a bunch of roads and pipes and water and sewer, and then they sell their lot until they're gone. Right. Problem is
the traditional builder is not a home builder. They are a developer. They increase the value of their asset. And
right.
To do that, unfortunately, they have to build a home. So that's just part of the process.
Yeah, I think that's a fair statement. Infill is anything in a developed area. It's a vacant lot or a tear down house. And the reality is they're more likely to be in places that people actually want to live versus the developers' properties, which, land's a constraint. So they have to continually push out and further away from where people actually want to be.
Yeah, I think it's genius. I love it.
Thank you.
What I really like about this is it pulls back the screen and moves away the clouds from the infill lot. Like there's so many people. I wouldn't want to live in a brand new community.
Cookie cutter house, I'll pass.
Right. I would love to live in an established area and I think about some areas around Chicago where they've been knocking down the classic Chicago bungalow and putting up nice houses. But you can never get your hands on that Chicago bungalow because the minute it goes on the market, the builders immediately, suck it up.
Yeah.
David, this is Paul. A quick question for you. We got a question from Ashley. What does this do to, who does this get in the middle of? What happens to real estate brokers now in the marketplace? How do they feel about this?
They love it. They love it because so most home builders are accepting of real estate agents. They, if you bring me a buyer, I'll pay you a commission. We embrace them. So in fact, we're right now adding features and functionality directly for agents so that they can pick a plan and they can market a new construction home on their listing for a tear down property or a vacant lot, right? So basically, if I go to, let me switch views. So we make it easy for them to sell a property that may have been on the market for 1,000 days. It's been on and off the market for 3 years because no one can figure out what they can do there. If I go back.
So do you ever envision a scenario where essentially you're displacing agents, or do you see it as a?
No, I envision agents are our direct sales force, and LotNova is a sales support system for the agent community. We aren't going to displace the agent at all. We are going to be dependent on the agents to continue and accelerate our growth. So actually, this is 208 West Ellis is in Libertyville. This is a listing that is on the MLS. You can find the same listing on Zillow or Redfin or anywhere else that's a real estate aggregator. And the broker came to us and said, hey, what do you think we could do here? And we worked with them to select a plan and put it out on the market. And they're directly out trying to sell this home on this lot to home buyers.
Oh, that's cool. I hadn't thought about that. So rather than showcase the crappy looking house that's on the lot, they showcase this.
And if they sell this, they get commission on this.
Yeah, that makes sense. I like that. So let's talk about your growth plan.
Sure.
I mean, I know what I think could see in this, but what's your vision?
So we're starting in Chicago. And in fact, we're working on financing to do some spec homes to put our brand in the ground. We're going to continue to add communities throughout Chicagoland, including the city of Chicago itself. Right now we have about $100 million in active listings in the system. But then we're going to scale out into some other markets. We've got interest, people who have interest in Grand Rapids, which is one of the fastest growing cities in the country. We've had an architect ask us about doing something in Denver. So our vision is to take what right now is a fairly localized platform and scale it out to a national home building platform. And that allows us to do things that small builders can't today, right? If I can deliver at volume, I now have purchasing power and negotiating leverage, and I have trade leverage, and I can get the attention and focus of the trades and as their primary customer instead of a typical framer has 40 small builders doing maybe a house a year every 2 years and splitting their time amongst them. So the same type of leverage a big builder has.
I'll tell you what I see in this is when these plans are all fully digital, they're in the BIM, the building modeling, and Materials Exchange has the marketplace with all the wholesale prices.
Yeah,
I see a connection where you take the local lumber distributor or lumber dealer, and they can take the prices off Materials Exchange, put them through their process of turning it into a job pack, putting it on the site. Basically, you get a real-time price for what that house is really going to cost.
I love it. Let's do it
Your
today.
system takes into consideration the nuances in building codes and what probably would have been a 2 to 3 week process of getting an actual quote on a house.
Sure, absolutely.
Have it live.
And so as a builder, here's what's going in the market today, right? So I call my carpenter and I say, I need a bid to build this house, and I get a price and it says you got 5 days to lock in your pricing and pay for your materials. Otherwise the price goes out the door because of market volatility, right? So that would be amazing if I could, tie it directly into your pricing system. I'm actually do something a little novel for the pricing. Our pricing engine actually projects, does a statistical projection on the construction price index. And it says, when we're actually in the construction process for this house, where do we project that index to be? And how does that affect the cost of building the house? And that's built into that pricing model.
Yeah, if everyone's vertically integrated, the data flows through, and there's the trust factor that yes, this house was bought, financing is there, it's not going to fall through. Think about all the risk premium that can be taken out of the pricing.
Absolutely. And that's the whole idea, right? Is I want to make this easy, transactional, and transparent. And
what the best part is, you get in your vertical all high quality companies that do what they say they're going to do. And at the end of the day, you're going to have a good product built. You're going to have a nice house delivered on time, on budget, exactly the way the consumer wanted it. Everybody in that whole supply chain is happy.
That's the holy grail, isn't it?
Yep, I love it. Well, hey, this is great. I wish you the best of luck, of course. I don't think you're going to need much luck because I think this is a home run of an idea. If anybody wants to get in touch with you, I'm sure they can find you on LinkedIn and through LotNova.
Yeah.
If someone knows someone that thinks LotNova might work well in that area, I think it's good expansion opportunities.
Hey, Mike.
Yes.
Mike, I wanted to ask him, is that lot really for sale on Lake Manier?
I don't know. I have to look. Is there one on Lake Manier?
That's what it looked like when you brought it up. That's pretty cool. And that stuff never comes up.
I guess I'd have to check. So I don't actually.
No worries. No worries. I'll go check it out.
Go check it out. So
I won't tell my wife, but I'll check it out.
Yeah, well, that would be a nice location. That's for sure.
It's awesome, man.
Well, David, you know what I want to do is let's touch base with each other in a year or two and see what came of LotNova. I think
We'll stay in touch. We'll stay in touch. I've gotten to know Mike and Joe and Ashley on and off over the last few months, and I appreciate the invite to be here.
All right, no problem. Thank you very much. Back to you, Paul.
All right, guys, thank you very much. Love the discussion, love the thought leadership, love the concept that's coming out of this stuff. So again, once again, thank you. Thanks, Mike, for hosting that discussion. Thanks, David, for being our guest. And then looking forward over the next couple of weeks, we're going to do a focus on the component manufacturing segment. We're going to have some special guests from associations and from even MX users and companies that are using the platform today. We'll talk a little bit about some of the challenges that they're facing, some of the opportunities that they've got in front of them, and we'll be focused on that. So you'll start to see some promotion on that. So all of that, thank you very much. Have a great weekend. We appreciate your attendance. Take care.